to get a van going, get a little sprinter. Hey, you're delivering these like next day or that afternoon, deliveries for prescriptions and medical devices and medical items. I always thought there's like good money in it and it's a profitable company, but welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmons and Ellis Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. It is Movified Wednesdays, and of course, I couldn't do this. I can't do this alone without my co-host Steven Reed with Big League Movers. What's up?
What else? What else? Come on, you got my
Ready
intro.
Rolls, ReadyRolls.com, and of course
On Deck Deliveries.
On Deck Deliveries
as well.
Come on now, you give me the script, I got to follow the whole thing.
Self-made millionaire, ladies and gentlemen, weighing 190 pounds. No, sir. What?
Who? You?
I wrote the intro.
Yeah.
6'8".
6'8", 190 pounds, just like a long string bean. Oh boy! All right,
1996 Peanut Bowl MVP.
I gotta sometimes just kind of cut this guy off.
I try to give him an intro every episode, guys. I try to give him a big one.
It's too much. It's too much. Listen, we are super happy to welcome Wally Pelett. He is a veteran in the logistics industry with more than 25 years of experience. Wally, welcome to the show. I'm going to give you more of an intro in a second here. It was a pleasure to finally meet you over at the Build to Move conference that we had in Worcester, Ohio.
Yeah.
I was very jealous because he was sporting his Meta glasses the entire time, and I kept forgetting to pull mine out. So I was like, damn this guy.
Those Meta glasses right now, Wally, that you have on?
Yeah. Yep.
So pretty much you're just looking into your glasses and that's it. You got screens in front of you. You're not. Am I right on your right lens right now?
I don't have the screen. I got the second gen, so it's not. There's no screen in there.
I got the big helmet over here from Apple. They haven't got any smaller.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they get smaller.
Steven tends to run into a bunch of walls all the time, so that's why they want to make sure they give him the extra padding and the extra helmet on there, just in case, especially for field trips. Listen, Wally he spent like 15 years owning next day ground delivery service, which was very similar to the UPS or the Amazon style routes that we see today. But this is like, I always like before Amazon came around or it even existed, Wally was doing it, right? It was like the same thing what I did in my first moving company where I did Undercover Boss before it was kind of a thing. And he later launched a courier and on-demand delivery.
Wait a minute.
What?
Did you just kind of halfway claim Undercover Boss as a show before the show? Like, did you pick up that, Wally? He just slid that there like...
I feel like he invented it, yes.
Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Sorry.
I wasn't going to question it, though.
No, you don't. You're not allowed to question it, right? There's no fact checks on this show. This is just pure...
You don't need to question Mark.
Pure truth. 100%.
This reminds me of when I started Undercover Boss before it was a show. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much. Look, he was delivering and servicing hospitals, pharmacies, labs, which I also want to kind of touch on when we get talking here, because this definitely is going to lead into, selling the business over 10 years ago and then founded toobigformycar.com, which is a great domain name, which provides warehouse and delivery services for interior designers, furniture stores, home builders, and 3PLs. He's also the founder of TB Dispatch Pro, which we'll chat about later in the show, a warehouse and delivery management platform built specifically for the big and bulky industry, now used for movers, retailers, and 3PLs across the country.
And as somebody that does that service, as our listeners know, that is much needed in this industry. So I'm excited to talk about that on this broadcast today.
Oh, 100%. And, I really just kind of want to jump into it because you ran this business. What was going wrong, or what did you find was the reason you had to exit or sell the business? Because courier on-demand delivery, I mean, it's still a very high functioning thing. People still do it all the time, especially for hospitals and pharmacies. So, like, how did you get started in that and then want to get rid of it?
Yeah. So my partner and I at the time worked for another company that provided next day ground service, and they were awesome. We both loved working there. We worked our way up from drivers to managers within that business. That business sold to a national company that was looking to build a national UPS competitor, and they, yeah, they merged like a courier company, a next day ground company, and a freight company, and it just kind of all went to hell real quick. So my business partner Greg Nystrom and I decided to start our own next day ground service. So we did that. Got into the on demand courier side of things. A couple of years into that, built that business up to about, I don't know, 3.5 million a year, covering Oregon and some of Washington.
How
But
many
the thing with
vans
the
is that
courier,
at the time?
what's that? Oh God, I think it was around 50.
Were they employees or were they contractors?
Uh, all employees on the next day ground side, all contractors on the courier side. The courier industry in general at that point was just all contractors. So if you were trying to run
Still
employees, you
pretty
weren't
similar.
very competitive. Yeah. And so, but the courier business became a big race to zero. Technology had evolved to where there were a lot of software packages that you could buy for $500, $600, $700 a month that would make you technologically equivalent to anybody else. So people couldn't really compete on technology. They could only compete on service and price. And it always ended up coming down to price. So it started to become
That's
a
a dangerous
big race.
territory.
Yeah, so it just became a big race to zero. And so we sold out to a competitor.
Before we ever started using a moving CRM, someone asked me, could you 10x what you're doing right now with the current systems and processes you have in place? And I said no. And so he was like, well, then you need to just pull the trigger on the software. And then I saw Smart Moving and it was game over.
Austin joined thousands of moving owners on Smart Moving in 2021. Since then, he's more than doubled his business.
And I always compare Smart Moving to Apple products. It's just so simple, so easy to use, and that's really what's allowed my team to scale and now have 2 branches. And last year we scaled Central Coast Moving over 50% growth.
If you're ready to turn your moving company into a machine that drives profit, not chaos, try Smart Moving.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we have 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
It always makes my wheels turn when I see these. I remember going into a pharmacy once and going, oh, like, who does your deliveries for it? Because to me, there's, to get a van going, get a little sprinter. Hey, you're delivering these like next day or that afternoon, deliveries for prescriptions and medical devices and medical items. I always thought there's like good money in it and it's a profitable company, but I can
for
see
our listeners on Apple who aren't seeing it, Wally's face as you said that is great. He was like, I'm trying not to correct him until the end of the sentence.
Well, no, and that's where I kind of want to lead to, because prior to the Uberifying of technology, did you find that the profit margins were half decent? Because I would think to get to 3 million with 50 trucks, where you're subcontracting, you have your employees, the logistics behind it sounds like a nightmare, because your volume has to be so high because the pricing is so low that with fuel costs and insurance and everything, that the margins must be like very, very tight to be making money.
Yeah, you have to have a significant amount of volume, especially on the next day ground side. Courier's a little bit more forgiving with the volume side, but on next day ground, you really have to have a lot of volume. Our first day in business, we rented a cargo van to go pick up from the AARP, and we picked up like 14 packages at an average of $1.80. So that was $1.80 per delivery, and these are residential delivery. So not great business decision that first day, but when you start getting up to 3,000 packages a day, and a route can go out there and do 140, 150, 60, 70 pieces a day, then it starts, making more sense. But like with most things, volume solves a lot of problems with efficiency and margins, and the more volume you have, the better position you're going to be in.
Sure. Yeah, of course. So you sell out and then you turn around and you go, hey, what made you then say, I'm going to do this all over again?
Right. So the first thing I missed after selling the business was being able to call my office and say, hey, I'm at Costco or Lowe's and I'm buying a grill. It won't fit in my car. I need you to send me a truck. They would send a van and I would get the piece home. Once I sold the business, I no longer had that. And so I was getting married at the time, and it came up about 5 times in a year where I would have loved to have been able just to call someone and say, send a truck. Uh, and this was about the time when Uber became a thing, and there were a lot of businesses coming into the market as Uber for this and Uber for that. And I think my former business partner and I were sitting in our office when we worked for the competitor, and one of us said the words, too big for my car. And I went to GoDaddy, and the URL was available, so I bought it. And 6 months later, probably, or 4 months later, started toobigformycar.com. I had no idea what I was doing other than I knew logistics and software and, pick up at point A and deliver to point B and do what you say you're going to do and provide a good service. I knew those things, but I didn't know anything about furniture and delivery, and we'd never operated trucks that had 2 people on them, right? So now you got employee conflict problems because one guy doesn't want to work with the other and whatnot. So I had to learn that business from the ground up.
That was happening to you? That doesn't happen to me and Steven.
Oh, where the guys don't get along much?
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
Never.
No, I mean, it's probably specific to me. Um,
That's got to
in
be a
case you
Portland
can't-
thing. Yeah, it
in
must
case
be.
you can't tell, I am a ray of sunshine. So maybe it is me. But yeah, I had to learn the business from the ground up. There, in the delivery side of things with furniture stores and interior designers, there is no moving company owners group on Facebook, right? There is nowhere for me to go to interact with other people in the business and learn from them, and be able to accelerate the learning curve like there is with you guys. You guys
Yeah,
have
I
it
think
easy.
you and I, when we first met, we were like, how do we, in our world of delivery, how do we get an MCOU type thing going?
Yeah,
It's so needed.
exactly. It
It's,
is.
there's
I mean, it's brutal. I mean, to do it all by yourself is tough, and that's what I try to get
a lot of
people.
learning money, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
If you could go back to the very start, what was one thing that you did quite well and one thing that you wish you could have changed?
With Too Big for My Car.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? So when I started toobigformycar.com, I had some money because I had sold the previous business, and I wasted some money getting an office space in a nice building, and doing those things which were completely unnecessary. So that's probably one thing I would change. The other thing I would change is probably be more aggressive on the sales end. Get out there and talk to more stores and not be afraid of that. I came into the business not being the sales guy. In my previous business, my partner was the sales guy. I was the operations and technology guy. So I didn't have that confidence with the sales side. So I had to learn that. So I guess if I was starting over, I'd tell myself, don't be afraid of that. You're not selling anything. You're out there, right? Right. So it was mostly the sales thing. Now I don't feel like it's sales, right? We're just out there to build a relationship with a store or a designer and see what we can do to help them. And by and large, they need the help. So it's wrapping your mind around, you're not out there cold calling and trying to sell people something that they don't want or need. Um, so I'd say getting over that and just getting out there and doing it. That's how you learn. And I probably could have learned what I needed to learn about sales in 1 year versus 3 or 4.
Hey everyone, Matty Mailers here, the guy who pioneered handwritten letters for the moving industry. Why? Because my competition at my moving company was using the same stock postcards as me, and my mailing company didn't care. So I created a better way. Here's some mind-blowing results in July. Miracle Movers Utah closed $93,000 using our handwritten letter strategy. With our campaigns, you can forget about the guessing games. You get a trackable phone number, daily photo proof, an incredible design team, and I'm also included. All letters stop at me for approval before they ever leave our facility. Right now, Movified listeners get 1,000 golden tickets stuffed in our genuine handwritten letters completely free. Plus, I'm going to throw in bulk realtor data for up to 5 counties. What are you waiting for? Moving Letters AI. Stop competing, start dominating.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna double dial down on that. First week, what stores are you going to with what you know now?
In today's day and age, I'm getting with GPT and Google, and I'm putting together a list of every furniture store within 50 miles. It's going to help me figure out kind of the size of those businesses, their locations. I'm going to find the first ones that are within 10 miles of me, and I'm going to learn everything I can about them. What do they sell? What price points are they selling at? Who are they using for the delivery side of things, whether that's their own trucks or a third party? Even
Which
cold call
should
them.
not scare you away if they have their own trucks because they hate it, is what I've learned.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first thing you learn about sales is that you're never going to walk into a furniture store and they're going to go, "Thank God you're here. We have all this furniture that we sold, but we can't get it to the customer's home," right? That hasn't happened to me yet. And so what you find out is that they do have a choice. They have
I've
their
walked
own
into
truck
American Freight and it's been that kind of scenario, but that's about it. That's it's just a poorly
Right.
run organization.
Right. Right, because their last carrier quit last night.
Yes, earlier today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
which
for
does
the most
happen.
part.
Sometimes timing does work out very well.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
a lot of
we've
times
definitely-
I've walked into stores and when you actually spend the time, when you do that research that you're talking about, and you go in there and you can find out who the delivery company is, most of the times, especially if you've been in the industry, you kind of already know who's doing those deliveries. They're usually pretty disgruntled. There's usually at least a handful of issues. And a lot of the conversations that I've had with working with, staging companies and event furniture companies and had to sit down, talk in the boardroom is going, when I'm dealing with Mrs. Jones is using us once. We want to perfect that move. We want to do a great job, but Mrs. Jones might not use us for another 5 years. we're doing 50 to 100 moves for you a year, 100% something is probably going to go wrong. Right. And we just really need to lay this out of like how the corrective measures of how we can fix this and ensure that it doesn't happen is gonna happen. But a lot of times they go to you, they go, well, like, what happened? And you're like, I don't know. We deliver your stuff. Like, you know, we have 4 shipments or 10 shipments a day and we're delivering out your furniture. We're bound to probably put a box on the side in the warehouse. Like, you don't want this to happen, but because you're doing so much repeat business with that one client, something is usually about to go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you'll definitely walk into stores and they may have existing problems, and they're happy to share them. And at that point, it's a matter of determining, you know, do you have things in place to avoid those things? Good process and procedure and communication solves a lot of problems.
When a lot of times those small delivery companies, they don't, right? Like they just at the end of the day don't have a solution to when a problem arises. And so they avoid the claim, they get super disgruntled, they get combative with the client and argumentative. And then the client goes, shit, I'm still stuck with these guys. We have all these deliveries coming up.
Yeah.
How do we fix it?
100%.
You built the clients, you've set this up, and you want to target all these companies. How do you test the waters without overcomplicating it? Like, because I mean, to me, you know, just like yourself, who's like, oh, you know, I'm not really a salesperson. I don't really know how to go in there. Should I already have like a pre-price list made? Am I kind of going in there to drop off and saying, this is my pricing, but then you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot?
Right. 100%. You know, that's a great question. And I've made that mistake in the beginning, you know, trying to go in with a rate sheet, but it really makes no sense, especially if you're not there to really sell and to close. I look at it as that first call when I go in. You know, I don't have an appointment, right? I'm just walking in. I'm talking to the salespeople. I'm talking to the manager if they're there, or the owner if they're there. But they're more than happy to talk to you about it. And what I'm there to do is just learn about what they do, what their price points are, the type of furniture they sell, the type of beds that you might be assembling. Are they the adjustable bases or regular beds, or is it straight up IKEA style beds? Find out what they like about what they currently do on the delivery side, what they don't really like, or what they would like to see done better, and ask them what they're used to paying. Right? They will tell you all of those things. I mean, by and large, they're not going to say, I can't tell you that. Right? So they'll share it all. I was going to say, and then take what you learn from those conversations, and then come back with rates and a proposal and an idea of how to show them that you are different than what they currently do.
What time do you like to do drop-ins to meet somebody? Obviously not
Well, that's
Labor
a good
Day,
one.
Sam.
Yeah, I mean, probably earlier in the week and in the morning. You know, those are slower times for the stores. You know, going in on a Saturday afternoon, you're probably not going to get a lot of time. So mornings are better during the week.
If you go during the week, the last stop in I did, actually, I was buying furniture for a customer. We hear so many stories and moving, we want to help people out. So I went there to buy a bedroom suite for a customer that was going through a hard time after I heard the story. And I ended up they're ready to talk so much that it's so dead in furniture stores during the week. I was able to do a Zoom call at one of their desks. I was like, hey, what call? What area can I do a call over here? And I ended up talking to them about deliveries because they overheard what I do.
over there.
It's one of those fun things where I remember when we had the division set up for delivering event furniture, and we had our moving division and restoration division, we would have a mix. You'd start getting guys that go, hey, can I just be on the delivery side of things? It's like when you always hear that old tale where the guys go, hey, listen, I don't want to be on a pack job, right? Packing is just so boring. And then you get other guys that say, oh, I love being on a pack job. Like, to me, like if someone said, hey, can you go to this house and do a pack job? Sign me up, because I'm not having to hump a bunch of furniture. I'm not breaking my back. I get to, enjoy my day kind of and see how, and
for
then,
a lot of us independents that don't use that humping is not a normal term for us. I just want to clarify that's a traditional moving term. A lot of van lines and big city movers use is humping.
Yeah, it's
That's
not a
correct.
line item. Yeah, it's not a line item on the receipts.
It's not part of Wally's vocabulary, so I do
Well, Wally's
apologize.
learning it. Wally's learning it because he's taking an
learning.
interest.
That's right. That's right. But like,
I want to kind of ask that, Wally. When you are in, like, what drew you to the moving industry after being in this? What synergies are you seeing that you wanted to learn? Hey, what are these guys doing with the same equipment I'm using?
Yeah, I mean, I ran into one of my former employees who left, went to work for a moving company here in town, and he thought the owner and I would have a lot in common, a lot to talk about. So I ended up meeting Calvin from Cal's Moving and Storage in Salem, Oregon.
Oh yeah, Cal runs a heck of an operation. He has a lot of good guys. He has a
Yes, he
unique
does.
culture there.
He is a
shout out to Cal.
good dude. He's built a great business. I ended up meeting with him, learning a lot about the moving industry. He introduced me to the Moving Company Owners United Facebook group. I got in there, just started participating in that. And you see a lot of reoccurring kind of issues and things that come up in the moving business. And the more I see those things, I start thinking that, why aren't these moving companies getting more involved in the delivery side of things, where some of those issues are just a lot less prevalent or the dollar amounts are a lot lower. It's not like you're going to, get into delivery versus moving and all of your problems are going to go away. They just seem to be on a different scale. Like, nobody's calling me to say their 75-inch flat screen TV doesn't work after I dropped off the new couch.
Well, to answer that, and one, I think, and Wally, you've learned a lot since you've been here, but I'll give you some roadblocks that people see from crossover. Administratively, people aren't, and I'm going to plug readyrolls.com, but administratively, people aren't set up in moving if they're just doing COD work to take over this kind of work. So there is a gap. Like, yes, I want to do the work, but they don't understand the billing and the not getting it direct from customer every time. And the other side I see a little bit of a challenge of the industry is not understanding how to rate it. Those two things I think draw, but maybe you've noticed more.
Yeah. I mean, from the movers side of things, I mean, when you're a hammer, everything is a nail, right? So when you're talking about rate structures with a store, the first thing you want to say is, I charge X dollars per hour, right? But the problem for the store is that at point of sale, when they're selling that sofa, they can't tell the customer that they don't know what the delivery rate is going to be. They charge per hour. You're going to have to figure that out with them. That becomes a barrier to them closing a sale. Versus if you have a rate structure that says the first 3 pieces of furniture going to 97201 zip code is $149, they can tell the customer that and they can continue closing the sale. So the propensity to want to charge everything per hour just doesn't work in the furniture delivery side of things for stores. Now, for the interior designers, you can get away with the per hour on the installation side, but you can't get away with it on the receiving and inspection side. Receiving and inspection, they want to know what that costs to receive and inspect a sofa. Like, they got to be able to quote that to their customer when they're putting together proposals and quotes and such. So the propensity to one charge everything by the hour hurts movers from getting into this work.
Hey, it's Mark with Movified, and I'm here to talk about Canada Home Listings. They are the only direct mailer service built specifically for household good movers in Canada. That's right, my hometown. They help moving companies reach homeowners the moment they list their home with proven mail campaigns that drive results. And for the Movified listeners, they're offering exclusive promotions you won't find anywhere else. So go check them out today. Go online, go do your thing, and go find them. Canada Home Listings, right now. Go. And then keep watching the show.
I think this is also where you want to make sure when you do that initial drop in, or you're doing you're trying to, and now with ChatGPT, I mean, it makes life so much easier, but you really want to ask the specific questions on, does your existing delivery company do it by city? Do they do it by miles? Do they have a minimum per item, depending on what it is that they charge? I know for us, when we do delivery services, we base it off the cities, right? And I work off of how long is that going to take? What's that timeline going to look like for that one piece? You're allowed up to 3 pieces, for example, for that item delivery. Anything more, there'll be an additional charge because you're now looking at the time, because you really want to execute these deliveries in under 30 minutes so you can carry on with the next one. For a cost per delivery comparison. Would you agree with that, Wally?
Yeah, I mean, the thing, so rating by miles has always confused me. Because that's a moving target as well, right? When you Google an address, it's going to give you 3 routes. The customer wants you to use whichever route is the fewest miles because that costs less, but your driver's going to take the one that gets them there the quickest, which may be more miles, but it's on the freeway. So rating by miles can get confusing. What I do is we run the miles to that zip code, and now we have our base rate for that zip code. I don't care what the miles are, if it's 12 versus 15 or whatever. We just build out the rate structure by the zip codes. Now, as far as figuring out what it's going to cost you to get to those zip codes from the store, that becomes a moving target as your volume goes up. Because really what you start looking at once your volume goes up is not the distance between the store and that house and back to your base or whatever. You start looking at how many minutes does it add to my route to add this next stop, right? So I'm not looking at from the store to the zip code. I can start looking at from that delivery to the next one. What's that distance and what's that time? And start calculating what I need to make for a delivery based on that. But in the early days, when you don't have the volume, you're really looking at, the distance from the store to the stop and trying to rate, somewhat more based on that. But the bigger you get, you can start looking at, okay, how many hours is it going to add to a route for these stops? And the bigger you get, the less it adds.
To bridge this too, for somebody interested in getting to this, if I'm wrong, let me know. But you're going after furniture stores first to get volume. When you said, if you could do this again, I'd go to furniture stores. You're wanting to get the volume, and then the interior designer is an easier sell off you already going to those areas. Is that why you would say furniture stores first?
Yes and no. It's furniture stores because you don't have to have a warehouse to do it. Number one, a lot of the furniture stores have their own warehouse facilities. So I think we built our delivery business up to 5 trucks a day before we got a warehouse at all. So I like that part of it. And the designers, if they have larger installs, then there's going to be a propensity to be charging those by the hour anyway. So having a base of other deliveries that you do isn't as big a deal.
If I had to pick my choice, I would say you get set up with the furniture deliveries. Like Wally said, you don't need the warehouse. It's an easy start to get it up. Your trucks are out doing deliveries. So now you're getting that free advertisement while you're driving around your hometown. This is actually a great time to segue to this week's Dolly Dash. That's been brought to you by Movifiednation.com. Please make sure you check out.
Join it now.
Join it now. Go to start.movifiednation.com. Fill out a quick questionnaire. This will get you 3 free SOPs, as well as joining our newsletter. We are right now in the current state of launching the updated website, where we're going to be offering our community and mastermind programs available to all. And we're excited. This should be running through by the end of November. So stay tuned. But
and also we're expecting those to fill pretty quick when we go out there. So join the Movified Nation to get in first line on those spots. Those first spots we're running.
100%. And so roll the tape.
Hey, it's Mark Hirschi with Movified. It is the Dolly Dash moment, Titan edition. I got Jason here out of Austin, Texas. We are at the Moving Titan event, and I'm gonna hit you with a couple questions. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
All right, perfect. All right. It's day 2. You've had a bunch of speakers on here. What is one of the biggest takeaways that you've experienced so far?
The biggest experience. I really like the guy who was talking about gratitude. I think that's kind of key to finding happiness, right? I talked to a guy a couple months ago, and he was talking about how he was doing $3 million. He was like, only $3 million a year. And I was like, dude, do you know how many people would kill to have $3 million a year? People would literally kill you for that. So I thought that was pretty good.
So that's good. Good answer. That's right. We're on to the next one.
Yeah.
This is your first or second time you've been here?
Yeah. No, this is the first time.
First time you've been here.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you would tell newcomers, like other business owners that were thinking about coming to this event but didn't, that they should why they should be here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the value is definitely there. It doesn't matter what business you're in, right? The biggest thing is finding your group of people, finding people who've been where you want to be, because that's kind of the cheat code, right? If you want to be successful, find people who've done it before and network and, have fun while you're doing it. Yeah.
Traveling is always key. You pack your suitcase, you arrive at this event. What's one thing that you wish you packed that you totally forgot?
It's a good question. I don't have any regrets. I packed everything.
His wife packed them for him, so he's set. He's set. Last final question. Leaving this event, what's one thing right away that you want to implement into your business moving forward for 2026?
I think a training program. We do have like a written training program. We have videos and everything, but it needs to be something that is more implemented, something that's more interactive, something that people can absorb better. I guess that would be it, right? Finding more accessible ways to make it integrated into their work to where it's more seamless.
I like that. Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
It's been a Dolly Dash moment.
All right, welcome back. That was a great Dolly Dash moment. I always enjoy those all the time. Before we kind of kick off into the gear, me and Steven's good friend, Travis Weathers, has come out with a book. Right now, I think it's still on Kindle. I think it's now available by book.
And owner of Rotate Digital, a key sponsor on our show that helps us do this every week.
100%. Travis Weathers did tell me that I have to say he is one of the best looking SEO specialists around town. And that if anybody buys 10 books, he will give you 5 minutes in his airplane. If you buy one book, you only get to take a picture outside the airplane with him in the hangar.
And
so
I
I suggest you at least
he
buy
would
10.
say that. So my promise to him is that Mark would say that on the show today. And so we are done with our threats and we are making it on to
get
the holiday. Right?
Listen, it's if you want an easy read where it's a play-by-play to help you skyrocket on Google, go check out the book. I mean, it's 99 cents for a Kindle, and it is $50 Canadian if you want it in Canada, but 99 cents US.
You're going to get your value. Yeah, that's
You're
for
gonna get
sure.
your value. That exchange rate really gets you.
I can't wait to read it. It's going to change the game for me in a lot of ways of understanding a lot and marketing as it transitions to all three of my companies.
Yeah, and he's got the vast experience to do so. So kudos to him. I don't think it's easy. I remember when Wade came out with his book, Wade Swikel with the Hometown Titan book. It's no easy feat to write a book, especially anything that does not have large cartoons or pictures in it and is filled with those extra lines to take notes, but it's an actual, 200-page book. That's a lot of writing, people, and that's not done by ChatGPT.
I was looking at my bookshelf. I was going to grab Wade's book, but I guess I'll let somebody use it.
Steven is definitely a ADHD, right? Like you can't sit down and read a whole book. You have a Ready Rolls person who does that, right? They read to you. Yeah, readyrolls.com.
Get your VA.
Fly actually reads the book, right?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
She records a Cliff Note version of it that's under 10 minutes in which I can absorb.
And she probably does like the voices and stuff too, right?
I'll give you one of the best advices that was given to me by a fellow company owner that told me one day he walked into his son's room, and I think I've shared this on the podcast. He walked into his son's room, and his son had his laptop, his headphones, and a book in front of him and said, "Are you doing any work?" It was with Wade's book too. He said, "Are you doing any work?" He says, "Yes, I listen to the audiobook, and then while I listen to the audiobook, I read along with it, and then I can highlight and note because it actually helps me read faster. Even if I put it at like a 1.25 or 1.5 speed, I am fasting along." And what I do with my Meta glasses is I'll sit on the couch, I'll tap into the audio with my glasses on, so I don't have to have headphones or anything else. I still kind of feel normal, or if I'm out in public, and or I'm like on a plane,
I
right?
think we're having a serious conversation. Are you reading a book right now?
I am, yeah, I am.
He's
Oh
listening
no,
to
you
it.
mean like right now on the podcast?
Are you
No,
reading
no.
Travis's book right now? Are you in this conversation, Mark?
I am. Sorry, I'll tune back into the podcast.
I'm actually listening to another podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, Wally, is everything okay? That could have been any three of us. I was waiting on which one it is. I think we were all
Dude,
checking.
That's right. Hey, Wally, are you listening to Grow Your Moving Company podcast while you're on this podcast? Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah, I was listening to the Winston podcast.
Oh, even better.
What up, Winston?
What up, Winston? Love you, buddy. Okay, so I want to kind of go back to my trifecta. Get into the furniture deliveries, and what that will do is get you through the door on trying to figure out your rates. It will also help you understand what a white glove delivery means.
Wally, if we have a listener who's got that person, we have a listener who's walked in there, went in Nebraska Furniture Market, got to the manager, and they need somebody. Are you available to get DM'd to ask for some help in this? I get these messages a lot, so I didn't know if we could share the load.
Yeah, I've probably done 50 plus one-on-one calls with moving companies about these questions. Yeah, so I'm happy to help.
You've done it with my whole team as well. But Wally is a great man, so I kind of wanted to share that. If you're in this dilemma, don't stress about it. Wally can help you get there. He'll give you a little bit of advice on it.
100%.
You seriously just cut me off in the middle of my trifecta?
I was trying to cut down some of my DMs about deliveries and share the load with Wally a little bit. Right?
I like it. I like it.
I saw an
All right.
angle I needed to get.
So get the delivery, the furniture deliveries down pat. Once you get to that part, I would suggest trying, if they're still around and they're you see a lot within your hometown, is start working with the staging companies. And what that will do is that gets you the next step. Now you're dealing with a designer. Now you're understanding where they're going to in someone's home, and the nitpicking of going, can you please move this furniture over here? Okay, we kind of want this over here. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?
Well, you got to have a warehouse at this stage, right?
You don't need a warehouse still. I still do not need a warehouse because a staging company typically will have a warehouse. But if I had the warehouse, what I can also do, because most staging companies sometimes will rent out like a 10 by 20 storage locker at a local public storage, and they run their office through there, is now you go, hey, listen, I'll charge you the same price and you can store your stuff in our warehouse. So now I have a storage client, and I basically have a client for life, working, doing all their staging stuff. And then now you're not driving to their storage facility or their warehouse or their office to pick up the stuff, and you're still charging the same rate. Now, by doing that with staging companies, guess what you've done? You've now created two moves out of it, because you are taking the items to the home to get staged. You're taking the items back out of the home when the home gets sold. And if you know how to really sell, you are trying to get who the realtor is and getting in touch with the homeowner to say, hey, let us move your items out. We can store it if you have the warehouse. And then we work with the staging company to set up your home. And then we can move your new items to your new home, because it's going to be stored in our warehouse. So now the homeowner's super happy, the realtor's super happy, and the staging company. And you've now got 4 moves out of it. Plus you got storage. That would be my second bet. Once you've done that and you understand the je ne sais quoi of dealing with staging companies, then you start going to the interior designers. Because the interior designers, when you start receiving the furniture, you need to start learning how to do inventory management. You need to start understanding what their demands are and sitting down and having conversation with them. How critical is it on each item that we receive? Do I need to inspect it? Do I need to go through this? Are you receiving it and we're just delivering it? And I want Wally to kind of continue on this, because this is now where it's going to start going into having a type of software, having that certain experience and what to look for when you start working with interior designers. But to me, that would be my 3 stages, because if you start jumping to interior designers, you're going to lose them so fast as fast as you got them. If you're not doing
you only
it right.
have one time to build that relationship up.
And they all talk, right? Like they all talk. And a lot of interior designers, they go to the same shows, they go to the same awards, which is also another great way. If you can find the trade shows or the conferences that they are having, like here in Vancouver, we have a whole interior design trade show that happens every year, right? So I want to go to that. I want to go to the builders expos. That's I want to go to these kind of events because that's a great place to market. But that's off topic. Wally, so take me from there. Would you agree with that dynamic? And then I want to start talking about interior designers.
Yeah. So then, the first thing I would circle back to the stagers, and even stagers or interior designers that are running their own receiving and storage. They have a little warehouse space or whatnot. The thing that we try to convey to them is that they can outsource that. Let us do the receiving and storage for you. And now that expense, that expense is now a variable cost. When you're doing it yourself, it's a fixed cost, right? You have that overhead every month, whether you're slow or you're busy or whatever. If you outsource it, it's now a variable cost. And especially for a home stager, if 1 month all the pieces are out in homes being staged, in our world, they would have no overhead costs. We didn't do any receiving. There's nothing in storage. I have nothing to bill you for. But in their current world, they have a facility that they manage or they rent. They still have to pay for it, whether there's furniture in there or not. So we like to teach them that, we can make this a variable expense.
I got to stress on that one. Because there's 2 things Wally does show. And as y'all know, our Movified way is playing tag. And so Wally said he redirected me at the beginning about furniture stores and said, no, you go in there, you do your research, and you're trying to find out how to help them. You're not pricing them on the first visit. So Wally's going in there and playing tag and wanting to understand their business so he can provide a solution, right? Same thing when we're talking about interior designers. He's wanting to understand their business. He's wanting to reach out and play tag and explain to them, hey, I understand. This got to be hard in this business, paying this flat fee every month when you can pay me when you're making money. And so I just wanted to stop there and say, hey, Wally's built his business on the foundation of tag, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, and same thing with the designers. When you're talking to them and wanting to pitch them on using you, it's mostly about finding out about their needs. What do they like about what they're currently doing? Whether that's their own warehouse or they're outsourcing to a third party, what do they like? What do they wish was better? Right? And then you focus on those things that they wish were better and communicate to them that your system, your processes, your procedures will eliminate those things that they wish were better, because with us, they're better.
And then it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to use it. Like, he just helped me. He helped me understand different. He taught me something. I want to do business with that guy.
Yeah. And you're not competing on price, right? Because if you don't ask those questions and get deep and show them that you have solved those problems in your business, then all you have to compete with is price. Because why else would they switch? It's either going to be less expensive or it's going to be better. So I would rather sell them on the fact that it's going to be better.
I try and sell them on me. With my smile.
Well, you can do that when you're you.
That's right. Just the arm flex.
I mean, when you've got those arms, Mark,
that's
you
right.
Do what you want to do. Yeah, I mean, you do what you want to do.
Yep. Let's not talk about the fact
good thing,
that
Wally,
we're
not
move. Wally was shouting out Eric Work's arms. He wasn't shouting my arms out. He was.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Some people like
Wally,
feet,
I appreciate
some people
you
like
pointing out
eyes.
my arms.
Wally's all about the arms. No one's pointing out your arms, Steve.
Well, we're still trying to figure out where that 190 pounds came from.
That's right.
6'8". That's just my intro.
6'8".
In my mind.
Right.
Basketball players and wrestlers can do it, and football players.
Yeah.
I mean, why not
That's
Movified?
right. That's right.
100%.
What do you see are some of the most common mistakes companies make when they start doing delivery work?
For moving companies, again, it's that I'm a hammer and I see a nail. It's the wanting to charge by the hour. Not having a real good idea of what your competitive advantage is so that it doesn't have to be rates, right? Having really good process and procedure in place to avoid the problems, right? We find that if on every delivery we follow 10 rules, it eliminates 98% of the problems, right? So if you've got really good process and procedure, you know what your competitive advantage is, you have known rate structures, and you're not trying to charge per hour. It really just comes down to having a plan versus just trying to make it up as you go using what you know about moving versus learning what you need to know about the delivery side. So again, a lot of it comes down to moving companies wanting to charge per hour for things that furniture stores just aren't interested in doing.
How did what you built for your company and now the industry help movers evolve or take that step or manage this process?
As we grew the business, our overhead grew, right? So at one point we had 3 people in the office whose full-time job was to call customers, to schedule a delivery, to collect a payment, because about half of the deliveries we had to bill the delivery recipient for. The store didn't want to get a bill. So we had 3 people all day, every day, dialing phone numbers to leave voicemails because nobody answers their phone these days. And then they call you back when you're on the phone. So now you got to listen to their voicemail, call them back. It's just a lot of overhead costs. And so we ended up building a system that automated the scheduling. When an order gets entered into our system, it sends an email and a text message to the customer. They click a link, they answer some questions, they select from the available delivery dates based on their zip code. If they're paying us directly, it allows them to do that. But that whole schedule now that whole process now is automated and happens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether we're in the office or not. We don't run our office at nights or on the Sundays, but we have deliveries being scheduled every night, every Sunday. And so we went from having 3 full-time people doing that to having 1. And that person's primary job now is to support the delivery teams, right? They're there to do dispatch, routing, answer questions. They aren't spending all day, every day scheduling orders. So now we can continue to grow the delivery side of the business without growing the overhead like we used to.
How do you set up, if I were to sign up with you, how would you set me up knowing would you help me with what areas I'm going and in what days so our customers can know where we're going?
Yeah, depending on your volume, what we have done for companies recently is taken a look at their historical delivery data. So we'll take a few months worth of data, we'll plug it into a Looker Studio heat map. So it shows you on a map where the highest concentration of your work is. And that's how we start determining, okay, how many days a week do we want to cover each part of town? And if there's a lot of orders, you're going to cover it more days a week. If it's a part of town where you get 4 orders a month, you're only going to cover it, once a week or once every 2 weeks. But we start with that. And then, yeah.
Guys, I
It's
spent
crazy.
years figuring that out. So is Wally, to be able to give that advice and set up for a moving company, understanding delivery and stuff. That will save you in this line of work your whole bottom line if you have that down. And so Wally, with this service, doing this and having customers automate, he's got this thing in a box.
But when you are using this type of software, that I find when it's, how do I phrase this? If you're going full blown into deliveries, right? So Steven has a full division. It's on deck deliveries. I have a whole crew. I have dedicated trucks. We're just doing deliveries now within this company. The software, to have a software like this, 100% makes sense. For someone that says, "Hey, I'm going to start another division with my company. I got maybe 1 truck. I kind of want to start working with interior designers, but I don't have the proper inventory management. I don't know the exact steps of how to do this." the software looks great. Let's say, you know, they reached out to you and they DM'd you and says, "Hey, Wally, like, I'd love to get involved in this." To me, there's a price point where someone like Steven with on like doing delivery and going full blown totally can, you know, can make sense of saying this is the software I need. Whereas someone's going in there going, I really need this software, but the monthly price or the cost, and we haven't talked about cost, but it's I don't know if it makes sense for me to be affording this because I'm not doing as many deliveries. Is there something in your TB Dispatch Pro software where you work on the variables of how much need do I need to make this work? Like how much
Yeah, I
volume?
mean, definitely it costs more based on the number of trucks we're routing each day, the number of pieces coming into the warehouse and being inspected and such. But what really determines whether or not you need a software like TB Dispatch Pro or not is a couple of different things. It can be the number of pieces you're receiving for interior designers, where every time you receive a shipment, you have to manually email them and say, hey, this shipment arrived. Here's the paperwork that came with it. Every time we inspect that piece, we have to get those photos. We have to manually email them to the client. And then you have to track where those pieces are in the warehouse. You got to track what you're charging per day for storage. You know, once the number of pieces gets to a point where those things are creating a lot of back end overhead expense, then it makes sense to automate that stuff with software. So
I
for
think it
us,
makes sense pretty
you
early,
know,
right? I think Wally corrected me. I was like, "Did you build this for somebody like me when we were starting talking?" And he said, "No, I built this for a smaller mover. It is somebody getting into this industry, and it can be a $1.5 million mover that can transition to this." So Wally's, and I think he charges based on that as well.
I'm more looking at it for the, you know, asking for a friend. It's one of those, hey, we get a interior designer, we built this relationship. They say, hey, we got this large shipment that's going to be coming in. Let's say it's going to be 100 pieces over the next like 4 months that we need to be received, inventoried, photoed, the whole 9 yards, right? And then we got to make sure that the storage charges, everything that you just laid out, Wally, needs to be there. Project starts in January, project finishes up in May, and I don't have another interior design client, right? I might, and then I maybe get one in the fall again that has 30 pieces, right? That's coming in, and I'm kind of dealing with that. Where do I have that buffer in the program, in the software? Because to me, I've used it now once. Oh man, shit, I want to like, I want to hit all the interior designers now, and I'm going to push it more. But maybe they don't even have another project that's going to start kicking in until the start of 2027. So is there like a stop and go process with your software? Is there a, I know some CRMs say, hey, listen, we're going to based on the volume and like how many trucks you're sending out as opposed to the summer compared to the winter. I'm just trying to make it so that the people that are listening go, hey, I want to actually reach out and understand this software because I think it'd be great for anybody that wants to get into this.
Yeah. So for the one-off example that you had, I mean, spreadsheets and manual emailing the client when a shipment arrives and the inspection photos. If it's project work like that, you don't need to buy an expensive software package to manage that. When you're talking about consistent volumes, whether it's 30 pieces a week are coming in that need to be received, inspected, stored, and you want your customers to have their own portal where they can log in and see those things and not bother you with the questions. Did the shipment arrive? Can you send me the doc? Did this piece get inspected yet? In our world, all of that stuff gets answered automatically, and they have access to the portal where they can look it up themselves at any time.
That's the cheat code Wally's figured out is interior designers. They want to know where their stuff is. They want to know it when. It doesn't matter if it's Friday night, Saturday morning, whatever it is. And Wally's figured out a system to give them the same information he has. So that eliminated the conversations and the massive amount of it.
Does yours incorporate like some type of scanning system where you can inventory the items much easier?
Yeah, creates a QR coded label for each piece that comes in. Yes.
Do you need like a certain special printer or like a handheld?
No, we did that on purpose because we came from a world where, our warehouse management software was run by a $2,000 hand scanner. You had to have three of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we built it all to work with tablets, iPads, phones, any of that.
But how are you printing it out? Like on an Avery print label? Like
You can print on plain paper, or you can print on thermal transfer. So whichever is more convenient for you. We used to have a lot of trouble with thermal transfer, so we run plain paper for us. But we have companies using the software that do use thermal as well. But to answer your question about the volume and when you would want to look at having a software, it really comes down to a few things. It doesn't take a lot of volume. It takes consistency, right? If you're consistently receiving pieces for designers and you're looking to grow that side of your business and you want to have
our 3PLs, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it's consistent volume. And are you looking to build that business? Do you need a competitive advantage to grow? So it's a low threshold for the number of pieces you're receiving and inspecting and storing for designers. But it's also a low threshold if you're working with stores. How many deliveries do you manually have to schedule each week before you're like, I could just automate that? And for me, that answer is like 30 deliveries a week. And I would be looking for a solution to automate that to where we don't have to have that payroll expense. So 30
Because I think
deliveries
at
a
30,
week
you're
is easy.
saying, do I need to bring somebody on board, or can I get a VA or something to manage a process, and that's going to save you money? I think you're at the right point there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, no, exactly. And there's kind of a evolution even where it makes sense to go with a VA on some things and then convert it over to a software when the volume is right. But to answer your question, it's 30, 40 pieces a week that are coming into the warehouse consistently, and I got to manually schedule 30 deliveries. That's where I would start looking at the software. But again, if you have opportunity with stores and designers and are looking to build that side of your business and you're in a good market, good size, starting with the software is good also because it gives you a competitive advantage from the start.
We recently hired Ready Rolls to help us with hiring some offshore help, some VAs, and they've done an amazing job. They found the perfect candidate for our company. Not only that, they helped answer the questions that we had about the process. Initially, hiring a VA can be a bit intimidating, but they answered all the questions. It's been an amazing experience. Our VA has been a huge part of our success thus far. We're actually in the process of hiring a few more right now. Definitely see them as being a key part of our growth and reaching our goals in 2025. And another game changer for our company. I'm confident to be a game changer.
Visit ReadyRolls.com. There is now a better way to scale.
So somebody like me, I just want to throw this out there, knowing a little bit about it, but somebody like me,
There's
using
nobody
3PL
like
trucks.
you, Stephen. So I'm not even sure.
But
what
somebody
we're
that
talking
does
about.
the deliveries, like me on the 3PL side, and they're listening to this. What the appeal I know of your software to what I'm already doing is, one, you're a complete package. So the software I'm using, two of them.
I like to think so.
The total package.
Are we talking
Wally,
about just Wally? We're talking about the CRM.
I'm actually gonna have shirts made now.
I knew once we were going to have you on the show, it was going to be Wallified. I knew it. Here we are. Somebody like me on that side, you got a couple of different softwares out there, but they don't do the total package. They don't do the inventory side and the routing side. And so what you've also added to appeal to us that do multiple trucks in the 3PL world is you've added on where customers can take your order and do add-on services. And that is a game changer for the industry on that side.
Yeah. So two things that most of the software in the industry doesn't allow you to collect a payment. Like if the store doesn't want to get a bill from you, most software doesn't have the ability to allow you to collect a payment through
Yep,
the
COD work.
scheduling. Yeah, COD is a nightmare. And the other thing that softwares don't allow you to do is allow that customer to pay you for additional things. Like if they want their current furniture moved out of the way so you can bring in the new, we can allow them to pay you to do that. If they want you to haul away their old sofa because the new one's coming, the software allows them to pay you to do that. Right now, we generate about $10 per delivery in those additional fees. So on average, we have increased our revenue per delivery by $10. And that's with, anywhere between 200 and 300, 350. But it's about 6 or 7.
Hey,
What's that?
That's huge.
For sure.
Yeah.
We got a
message from one of our viewers
that has
chimed in
by the name of Prob. All right,
Prob's got a message.
That's right. It's a fully loaded question here for Wally.
Shout out to Prob.
No, it's not Prob, but let's just tease him for a second. I am using Smart Moving. I have my deliveries and my dispatch set up. I'm setting up my moves, everything else. I'm also working with your software. How does that integrate with Smart Moving or any other CRM software when I'm dealing with dispatching on this side? I'm doing the dispatching for delivery. Am I completely keeping it separate? Is there an open API for some type of integration? And then when it comes down to taking payments and processing that all, is that also do you have like different integrations or like an open API on your software for different payment processing?
Yeah, so a couple questions there. Number one, we will end up pursuing a connection with companies providing the moving software like Smart Moving. So we will look at that in the future, but initially it's just a matter of, in our system, turning the trucks on or off based on, are those trucks doing moves? So we've made it really easy in the dispatch routing side to turn trucks off by day. So if you have fewer trucks available this Wednesday because you've got a bunch of moves, you just turn those trucks off in our system, or you only have certain trucks available in our system and turn those off if you've decided to move them over to moves. So it's not that hard to manage. And as far as payment collections, we have API connections with 3 credit card processors. We're adding a 4th. The 4th one actually also connects to QuickBooks Online. And what's unique about some of these credit card processors is that they move the 3% credit card fee over to the customer. So if the customer wants to pay with a credit card, they can pay the fee. If they want to pay with a debit card or a wire or ACH, then there's no fee. We're saving about $4,500 a month right now because of that.
Wally, I'm going to put you on the spot, but
Sweet.
one, I'm going to ask you to come back to Wallyfied Part 2. Because we want to hear some more about the process of load, like all the way from receiving and a load out. And I'm going to ask you if you could possibly screen share a little bit of your process through your software on that side of
that's
receiving and everything.
If you,
that is no
for all
problem.
those that are listening and watching, if you want to have this part 2 and have any questions for Wally, if there's anything that you want to be touched on, so that we can make sure your questions are answered, shoot us a message. Do it in, you can do it in Spotify, you can do it in Apple, you can do it on YouTube, you can even shout it out on the MCOU. We'd love those kind of tags saying you heard us all and you watched the episode and you have some follow-up questions for Wally. Don't bombard Wally with the questions. Bombard Steven, because he does nothing. No, you can hit me with the questions, and as always, hit me with the questions so that we can make sure we get those answered. But if you do have particular questions for Wally on the software, or if you have just some direct one-on-one, feel free to reach him out. We'll have his handle in there. You can find him on the MCOU if you're not following him personally on Facebook, which is the Moving Companies Owners Unite, right?
MCOU.
MCOU.
Well, hey, I also wanted to add, like, I always got something. I can never say goodbye, right? That's the Mark's gotta push us off. But Wally, this world is very interesting to a lot of people in the movie industry, and what you're bringing is something that can make it a lot easier for all of us to adjust to this world. So knowing how hard it was for me to adjust, learning this is a completely different industry, I'm thankful for your software. I'm so excited to run through it on another episode, and thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for everything you've given the moving industry since you took interest in it. So I want to share
I
that.
appreciate that.
And
Yeah,
thank you,
I
and
appreciate
also
it.
thank you so much for catfishing me, because when I see you and we chatted, I saw this other fellow that looked like a Wally, and then I met Wally in person. And says, "Boy, you're a lot more dapper in person, and you got more of like a silver hairline going on." And I was like, I felt totally catfished.
Guys, if he's
I'm
got a little
joking.
Memphis in him. You hear that voice? There's a little bit of Elvis this week. He's got a little
He
Memphis in him.
does. Poor Wally was not going to almost make it on the show because he got hit with the kids' colds within the household, like my family and like half the other families that are out there right now with kids in school. Oh, it's brutal right now. So that change of weather, it gets everybody, and it usually affects the parents. We always get hit with it somehow. We think we don't, but we do. This has been great, Wally. I really appreciate it, and I was just giving you a hard time about it, buddy. You've been a pleasure, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
All the people that send us messages and stuff.
Thank you.
Like, thank you very much. I don't want you to not send messages. Just with delivery, I am like an autoresponder going, let me set you up with my guy Wally. Let me set you up with my guy Wally. So keep the messages coming, but don't feel offended.
I was
going to
ask about that. So now that you're referring those people to me, is that a ready roll? Like, am I getting paid?
We'll talk about it.
$7 an
We'll
hour?
talk about it.
I just
I'll
wanted
get
to
you
know
on,
if
I'll
I
get
was
you on the go
employed now.
meter,
Yeah.
and they can easily just start going straight there. But what's your DM, Wally? Is it your name?
It's just Wally Pelett at the Facebook group, or I can be reached at walter@toobigformycar.com, all spelled out. TOOBIGFORMYCAR. So either of those.
Wally's a big player of tag.
Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you so much. Always hit the like button, subscribe, follow, comment. We appreciate it. Hit that 5-star review, which always helps us as well, or at least it always helps me. I always feel happy when I see that. So thank you so much. And again, Wally, thank you. Steven, always a pleasure, my friend. And
I'm about to go trick-or-treating.
And stay movified, everybody.